afternoon, everyone. I'm Stacy Van Dyke. We're expecting a blizzard in the valley going into this evening, and that could mean dangerous conditions on the roads. Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joins us right away on this first alert weather day. Hutch.
Stacy, thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. As forecast yesterday, the snow is already entering our western counties, and here is a look from the new Rockford area from a DOT camera out there. And I got to tell you, we're already getting some reduced visibility across many areas just out to the west. Here is the radar. Devil's Lake down to western Stutsman County here. That's where the snow is already beginning. It does punch into that Pembina and Cavalier area as well, and it's heading into the valley. It should arrive in the valley here as we get into drive time and just beyond. And the blizzard warning is in effect for the Devil's Lake Basin through the northern Red River Valley all the way down into the Sisseton Hills. The James and Cheyenne River valleys, including Valley City and Jamestown, and our Red River Valley counties of Minnesota. You will see snow, and some of you quite a bit of it across northwest Minnesota, but those trees help to slow down some of the gusty winds. Hopefully we won't have widespread blizzard conditions, but localized areas of blizzard-like conditions are likely for many areas, even outside of that warning. Near 20 right now in Lakes Country and single digits to near zero in the Devil's Lake Basin. Forecast we had last night, we're sticking with it. 2 to 6 inches with some pockets of plus. That means isolated 4 to 8 plus inches of snow in a few areas. The best chance of that will be from the international border through the northern Red River Valley and into Lakes Country. Down south, the numbers will quickly drop off. Keep that in mind as conditions are going to be at their worst by late this evening and through the entire overnight into your morning. Stacy, coming up, I'll have hour-by-hour details on this. And this is going to be followed up by yet another slap of Arctic cold that sticks around for a while. And oh yeah, more snow to talk about as we go into the weekend. And I'll have all of that here in just a couple of moments.
I know people are watching closely. Thanks, Hutch.
Yes.
Make sure you download the Valley News Live weather app. With challenging winter conditions, the weather app can help you plan your day. It's free in the App Store. Just search VNL Weather for alerts and updates right at your fingertips. Just like in the valley, storms in other parts of the country are causing chaos. Transportation officials in Virginia are still working to rescue hundreds of people stuck in their cars overnight on the interstate in below freezing temperatures. Many posted on social media saying they're running out of food, fuel, and water. Busy I-95 was shut down in both directions because of a massive crash during one of the biggest snowstorms to hit the mid-Atlantic region in years. Errol Barnett reports from Springfield, Virginia.
You're looking at I-95 in Stafford County. Look at that.
Images like this played out all night as the biggest snowstorm to hit the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia region in 3 years upended the commute of thousands.
This is the view from our car, literally the same view that we've had for the past 5 hours.
Nisa Semester was traveling from Massachusetts to North Carolina and has been stuck on I-95 in Virginia. She recorded this at 3 a.m.
We are extremely concerned for people who have limited supply of food, water, and gas, because if they don't have gas, they can't keep their car running and they might be freezing.
The state's Department of Transportation says it's been working one by one to clear tractor trailers involved in crashes contributing to the blockage. But that's little comfort to stuck commuters enduring bitter temperatures that have dropped to 17 degrees.
I have never been this frightened on the road before.
Many have been sharing their ordeals online, pleading for help, including this from a desperate parent with a 4-month-old in the back seat.
We haven't seen a plow truck or a police officer in 7 hours.
Airports also bearing the brunt of the storm, canceling even more flights on top of the thousands already scrubbed.
It's a saga.
William Humphrey and his fiancée, both pathologists, are stranded in Nebraska after their flight plans were canceled 5 times.
And between that moment and the time that the person helping us at the desk put my suitcase on the conveyor to check it, and then turns around and it says that our flight's been canceled.
The doctors are now considering driving the more than 1,300-mile journey home to Vermont so as to not risk more time away from a hospital that's short-staffed due to COVID. If you don't need to head out and get onto the roads, the advice is to stay home and stay safe. Errol Barnett, CBS News off the I-95 in Virginia.
New for you at 4. 4 people were hurt after an explosion inside a fish house on Upper Red Lake. The Beltrami County Sheriff's Office says it received the emergency call shortly after noon Saturday. 2 men and 2 women were taken to an area resort to wait for first responders. 2 of the people were treated at the resort while 2 were transported via air ambulances. They told deputies they were using 20-pound propane tanks to heat the fish house and started to hear a hissing sound. They closed the valves on the tanks, but then a large fireball filled the fish house. Authorities were not able to provide information about the extent of injuries or the condition of those 4 people involved. A man is in jail after he was reported firing a gun outside his home. Moorhead police arrived just after 11 last night after 911 dispatch was flooded with calls about gunshots. Officers recovered a gun and spent shells, but no one was hurt. Leon Norman was arrested for reckless discharge of a firearm. Police say a woman and several children were present at the time of the shooting. Several units were gutted by a late-night fire at a row of apartment garages in South Fargo. Officials say the fire started in 1 unit, then spread to 5 or 6 others, but investigators are still looking for the cause. Combustible items spurred on the blaze. A number of residents lost belongings to fire and smoke damage. New information on a story we shared overnight. We now know the identity of the woman who died in a crash in Alexandria. Police say a semi was blocking both lanes of traffic on a rural road last night when a car driven by 83-year-old Arliss Hendrickson hit the trailer of the semi. Witnesses say it was so dark that it was hard to see the semi. Hendrickson died at the scene. Oil and gas leasing on federal land is expected to resume early this year in North Dakota and Montana after the Biden administration halted the process nationwide last year. The Federal Bureau of Land Management is planning a lease sale for the first quarter of 2022, but hasn't finalized any details. Oil and gas companies will bid to secure the leases, and those that are successful will have a 10-year window to get a federal permit to drill. President Biden halted the leasing process after he took office. A court ordered the federal government to resume the sales after several states sued. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety is reporting that 2021 was the deadliest year on the roads since 2007. 497 people died in road crashes last year. That's more than 100 over the annual average. Officials say speed and not wearing seatbelts contributed to the most deaths, while alcohol was the cause of 135. The state's first deadly crash of 2022 happened January 1st. Authorities say speed and alcohol were contributing factors.
Jesse Diggins!
I want to race in a way where when I cross the line and look back, I can honestly say I left nothing out there.
That's Jessie Diggins, and she made history for Team USA 4 years ago, winning the nation's first gold medal in cross-country skiing ever. The St. Paul native is representing the U.S. at the Winter Olympics in Beijing. She'll look to defend her title and her legacy. You can watch the Winter Olympics starting February 3rd on KVLY. A record 4.5 million American workers quit their jobs in November, according to new numbers from the U.S. Labor Department, with the highest quit rates in the restaurant and hospitality industries. The Labor Department also reports employers posted 10.6 million job openings in November and hired 6.7 million people. In all, the national unemployment rate has now fallen to 4.2%. The December jobs report will come out Friday. More Americans say they're moving to be closer to family, a new trend as people shift priorities during the pandemic. United Van Lines has released its latest moving study, which found Vermont is the state with the highest inbound migration, followed by South Dakota and South Carolina. On the flip side, it was New Jersey's 5th year taking the top spot for a mass exodus. The North Dakota Tax Commissioner's Office is revamping its website to make it easier to use. It's improved the site's layout, functionality, and design. The launch of the new website coincides with the release of 2021 state income tax booklets, income tax forms, and 2022 income tax withholding tables. Alarming new data today on the number of pediatric COVID infections and hospitalizations. While the Omicron variant may not be as severe as Delta, the sheer number of cases is leading to more kids who are becoming seriously ill, especially those who are too young to be vaccinated.
COVID in a very short period of time has become one of the leading medical causes of death for children in this country. So I think it's about time that we stopped downplaying the significance of COVID for children.
The Omicron variant even having an impact on the unborn. A hospital in Florida is temporarily shutting down its maternity ward because of a surge in COVID cases among hospital staff. As the variant has surged in recent weeks, the FDA authorized Pfizer boosters for children ages 12 to 15 and third doses for those 5 to 11 with compromised immune systems. Meanwhile, Governor Tim Walz says COVID cases will most likely race through Minnesota public schools in the next week now that students are back in class. Governor Walz noted that modeling by the Mayo Clinic predict a spike peaking around the third week of January. 16,000 new COVID cases were tallied over the holiday weekend for kids and adults. That's a positivity rate of 12%. Governor Walz is also looking to increase testing. Today, he announced Minnesota has secured 1.8 million at-home rapid tests for schools to hand out to families, and another 150,000 free at-home rapid test kits will be available to communities disproportionately impacted by COVID. 3 new community testing sites will open in Minnesota. 2 of those will be in the Twin Cities. Employees who opted not to get vaccinated were officially terminated at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota yesterday. The company announced in October that anyone not vaccinated by January 3rd would be terminated. Some saying they didn't get the vaccine because of religious or medical reasons, others saying they should have a choice. The Mayo Clinic said the majority of medical and religious exemption requests were approved. They also issued a statement saying they stand firmly behind the evidence supporting the efficacy and safety of the COVID vaccines. The company has not said how many people were terminated.